Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Recently I did an analysis of Shri Puneeth Rajkumar's chart. I analyzed his untimely demise. Soon after that, I got more interested in his chart and I wanted to study his career timeline. So this session is a result of that short research. For those of you who do not know who Puneeth Rajkumar is, a brief introduction about him. He is affectionately known as Appo, was an Indian actor, playback singer, film producer, television presenter and philanthropist who worked in Kannada cinema. He was a child actor in the beginning, and then after a gap of 13 years, he re-established himself as a lead actor. And he passed away at an early age of 46. So this is a brief introduction about Puneeth Rajkumar. Now let me show you what topics I will be covering in this session. What made Puneeth Rajkumar a child prodigy? That will be the first topic I will be taking up. The next topic is he was an actor and singer and a television presenter. Does the chart show all three of these? He acted alongside his father in most of his films as child actor. Does the chart show the same? I will be interlinking his Rashi chart, Dwadasamsa and Dasamsa to show this particular aspect in his life. He shined both as child actor and lead actor with a gap of 13 years as I just mentioned. What is the indication in the birth chart? And the last topic would be his career came to a permanent end when he died. Does the Dasamsa have any indication? Okay, so let's start with the analysis. The data is March 19, 1975, 6:07 p.m. Chennai, India. Longitude 80 degree east 17 minutes and latitude is 30 degree north 5 minutes, 5:30 east of GMT. Some of the viewers requested me to share what system settings I use for Jagannath Hora for all my chart analysis. So let me show you that first. In preferences, go to related calculations and select set calculation options as recommended by the author. After doing this, go to Arudha Pada calculation options and uncheck this box. For Dasamsa, I use the third one, Parashara Dasamsa with even sign reversal. And for Dwadasamsa, I use Parashara Dwadasamsa with even sign reversal. So after you complete these 4 steps that I just mentioned, your chart, the chart that you put up, will look exactly like mine. Okay, let's go over the first topic. Why was he a child prodigy? I will be analyzing this using Narayana Dasa and the Rashi chart itself, just the Rashi chart, and not going into the Dasamsa at all. Let me show you what yoga got activated at such a young age. Previous to that, let us say if the chart has that potential to give rise to an actor, a singer and a television presenter. For that, let me pull up the Navamsha chart. Navamsha chart, apart from being used for looking at the marital aspect and the dharma of a person, it is also used to see the innate abilities of a person. In the natal chart, the rising sign is Virgo and the Lagna Lord Mercury is in the 6th house and the moon is in Taurus, eclipsed by Rahu and Ketu. One of the prominent yogas that is visible in the chart is the Hamsa Yoga, Hamsa Mahapurusha Yoga in the 7th house, which is a Kendra, and in Pisces, which is Jupiter's own sign. Jupiter gives Hamsa Mahapurusha Yoga. And the second yoga is the exchange between 6th and the 10th Lord, Mercury and Saturn. Though it is not such a good exchange if you consider career or profession or one's karma, it is an exchange between two Artha Trikona houses. 6th house, 2, 6, 10 are Artha Trikona houses, and it is an exchange between 6 and 10. So this might indicate, if this happens in a Dasamsa chart, it indicates that the native is somebody who is working very hard and fighting his enemies all the time in his career front. Now going to the Navamsha chart. I have not seen a need to rectify this chart, so I will not be going into that part of the analysis. Okay, Navamsha. In the Navamsha chart, one's abilities, one's innate abilities is shown by the planets in the trines and the planets that influence the Lagna. In this chart, we have Mars, Venus and Moon in the 5th house and Rahu in the 9th house. Moon is a planet which indicates emotions and voice, sweet voice. And Venus is a planet that indicates aesthetics. So two very prominent planets, Moon and Venus, showed his singing abilities and the acting abilities. This is why he was such a natural actor and a natural singer too. Moving on, if the same thing has any link in his Dasamsa chart, then he will make a career out of it. Not everyone who has these abilities will be able to make a career out of this. This is the point I wanted to highlight. Coming to the Rashi chart. Now let us look at this Rashi chart and see if there is any combination in the chart that indicates that he could have started to act at an early age of 6 months old. His first movie was when he was 6 months old. Yeah, he acted in a movie when he was 6 months. So let us see what yoga got activated at such an early age. For this, I will be taking up the Narayana Dasa. I have been using Narayana Dasa analysis for quite some time now, if you have looked at my previous videos. But I will go over Narayana Dasa one more time, step by step, and educate you on how to analyze Narayana Dasa. There are four levels of analyzing a Narayana Dasa. The first house. Now what exactly is Narayana Dasa? Narayana Dasa is a progression of Narayana in one's chart. Narayana is the divine God. Vishnu in one's chart. At a given point of time, Narayana sits in a particular house and blesses that house. The first level of analysis is to see where Narayana is sitting. Now the Mahadasha sign is the place where Narayana is sitting. For example, in his case, from 1975 March to 1987 March, the Mahadasha was in Pisces and Narayana sat in Pisces sign and blessed that house. Now the first level is to take the house itself and see what house it is from the natal Lagna and look at various planetary placement. What are the planets in that house and what are the planets and where the Lord has gone to, what are the aspects on this house. That is the first level. The second level of analyzing a Narayana Dasa is to see the chart from the progressed Lagna. Now the progressed Lagna at any point of time is either the Mahadasha sign or the 7th from it, depending on where the Mahadasha starts from. If the first Mahadasha starts from Lagna itself, then the progressed Lagna is the Mahadasha sign. But if the Mahadasha starts from the 7th from Lagna, then the progressed Lagna will be the 7th from the Mahadasha sign. Here in his case, the first Dasha is Pisces, which is the 7th from Lagna. So at any given time, at any given Mahadasha, the progressed Lagna will always be the 7th sign from it. Now we take that sign as Lagna and see various planetary placements, and then we note down our conclusions. Now the third level is go to the Dasha Pravesha Chakra or period entry chart for that particular period. How do you do that in the software is you go right click, first open the Dasha, right click on the entry chart of this period, and analyze various antardashas. Each of these houses correspond to various antardashas and see which house stands out with respect to some good yogas or bad yogas and make the prediction based on what houses they activate. Now this is the third level. Write down your conclusions. The fourth level is quite complex and complicated too, so please pay attention. Any Mahadasha is divided into 3 slots or 3 segments, 3 imaginary segments. In this case, it will be 3 segments of 4 antardashas each, because within every Mahadasha there are 12 antardashas corresponding to each zodiac sign. And the results are distributed among these segments. Now look at the Mahadasha sign. What kind of the sign is it? Is it a head rising sign, Shirshodaya Rashi, or back rising sign, Prishthodaya Rashi, or dual rising sign, Ubhayodaya Rashi? If the Mahadasha sign is a head rising sign, then the sign gives its result in the first segment. If the sign is a Prishthodaya Rashi, then the sign gives its result in the last 1/3 segment. If the sign is an Ubhayodaya Rashi, then the sign gives its result in the middle 1/3 segment. So the sign takes up the first priority of selecting one of these 3 slots. The next priority goes to the Lord of the Mahadasha sign. See where the Lord is posited. If the Lord is posited in a Shirshodaya Rashi or an Ubhayodaya Rashi, then the Lord takes up first of the available 2 slots. And if the Lord is in a Prishthodaya Rashi, then the Lord takes up the last available slot. So the first priority is given to the sign to pick its slot. The second priority is given to the Lord to pick its slot. And the remaining slot is given to the planets posited in the Mahadasha sign or which has Rashi aspect or the sign aspect on it. See what are the planets aspecting that particular house, and those planets which are posited in the house and which are aspected by other planets is given the third priority. The remaining slot is given to those planets. Now in the segment where Lord gives its result, depending on whether the Lord is a natural benefic or natural malefic, the slot again gets subdivided into 4 subsegments. In the first subsegment, if the Lord is a natural benefic, then it gives the result of the house it occupies. In the second subsegment, the Lord gives the result of the house it owns. In the third subsegment, the Lord gives the results of the yogas of which it is a part of. And in the fourth subsegment, the Lord gives its result according to the state in which it is, whether it is in a friendly sign, whether it has Uchchabala, or what kind of Shayanadi Avastha it is in. So that is the further division of the slot of the Lord. And in the slot which is allocated for the planets associated and the planets who are in conjunction, see which planet is more advanced in its own sign and arrange all the planets in the decreasing order of their longitudes and divide the slot among the planets that are associated, and they give the results in that order. Previous to this, for the result that is given by the Lord, if the planet is a malefic, then the order of results is the reverse of the results given by the benefic. Don't worry if it is confusing. I am going to demonstrate these rules in Puneeth Rajkumar's chart. Okay. Now let us go into the Narayana Dasa analysis of the time when he was a child actor. pulling up his wiki page, he was a child actor from 1976 to 1989. So that was when, roughly that was when Pisces Mahadasha was running. Now Pisces Mahadasha, in his case, the Dasha starts from the 7th from Lagna. So the Narayana is in 7th from the, Narayana is in the 7th house from Lagna. Now the 7th house is where Hamsa Yoga is present, and there is 12th Lord Sun too. What is the degree of conjunction between Sun and Jupiter? Because Jupiter is considered to be combust if it is too close to Sun. However, Jupiter is in his own sign, so he is strong. So let us quickly check that. In D1, Sun, Jupiter are quite close. Even though Jupiter is combust, Jupiter is still strong here because he is in his own sign. So during Pisces Mahadasha, he would, the planets that would have given their results is Jupiter and Sun. Jupiter is taking part in Hamsa Yoga, and let us also see if he is taking part in any other yoga. Yes, he is taking part in Chamara Yoga. So what are the results? What are the general results of Jupiter giving Hamsa Yoga is he is spiritual, pious and respected, and long-lived, scholarly, eloquent, learned in many arts. So one indication from the first level of Narayana Dasa analysis is that Jupiter's yogas are getting activated and the 7th house is activated. What is 7th house for? It stands for interaction, relationships, marriage, etc. But considering his age, marriage is definitely ruled out. So it has to be either relationship or interaction with people, or it can also be travel, because 7th house is for travel. He definitely moved out of his hometown Chennai, and all his movies are in Kannada, so that is definitely seen in his chart. Now let us go to the second level of analysis, which is from progressed Lagna. The progressed Lagna is in Virgo because it is the 7th from Mahadasha sign. Now looking at the chart itself, from his natal Lagna, of course it will be the natal Lagna because we are analyzing the first Mahadasha. What stands out? Again, it is the Hamsa Yoga, Chamara Yoga and the Parivartana between the 6th and the 10th Lord. So 10th house is getting activated, 7th house is also getting activated, which is why he began such an eloquent karma at a very young age. He started to act the karma that was assigned to him by his destiny. Now going to the third level of analysis, which is the Dasha Pravesha Chakra. Right click on this, go to the entry chart. Let us see, yes, the period entry chart, again it will be the same as natal chart because it is the first ever Mahadasha. So what are the houses that stand out? Again it is the 7th house and the 10th house. Now going to the fourth level of analysis. Now this is the more confusing one, so let me copy this to a clipboard and then go to edit, open chart notes. For those of you who do not know about this feature, for every chart you can have a separate chart note in Notepad. So Narayana Dasa analysis. I mentioned that we divide the entire Mahadasha into 3 imaginary segments, so of 4 Antardashas each. Okay. Now look at the Mahadasha sign. This is what kind of a Rashi? It is an Ubhayodaya Rashi. So where does the sign gives its results? It is in the mid segment. So the sign gives its result in the middle segment. And what are the results that it gives? It gives the 7th house result. And what are the houses that have Rashi aspect on this house? It is the 4th house and the 10th house. So 4th house Sagittarius and 10th house which is Gemini. So during this period, 7th house, 4th house and 10th houses are getting activated. 7th house of interaction, 4th house of education and 10th house of karma or career. That is from 1979 to 1983. Now the second priority is given to the Lord. Lord is Jupiter. Again, he is in an Ubhayodaya Rashi and he takes up the first slot. So it is Jupiter's result. Now in this, again it is subdivided into 4 parts. In the first part, Jupiter gives the results of the house that it occupies, which is the 7th house. In the second sub segment, he gives the result of the house he owns. So that is the 4th house and the 7th house. In the third sub segment, he gives the result of the yogas he is a part of. So it is the Hamsa Yoga and Chamara Yoga. There may be many other yogas too, but I have only picked those yogas that are mentioned in the software. And in the fourth sub-segment, he gives the result of the state in which he is. Of course, he is very happy because he is in his own sign. And if you go to the strengths tab here, Jupiter is in Nritya Lipsa Avastha. Nritya Lipsa is what? The meaning is also given. Desirous of dancing. So he is in a very good state. So obviously, auspicious result. Now, had this Lord been a malefic, then the order of this is the exact reverse of this. Okay, and then now going to the third segment. In this segment, the results of the planets that are associated with this house are given. What are the planets? It is Jupiter again, Sun and Saturn. And the order is decided by how advanced they are with respect to the longitudes in their own sign. So now we go to the basics tab. Look at Sun. Sun is at 5. Saturn is at 19. And Jupiter is at 7. So Saturn comes first and then Jupiter and then Sun. I'll go back. So now 4 Antardashas is divided by 3. So it is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 of that. So it is roughly Saturn, and then it's not exactly each Antardasha for one planet. Then it is Jupiter and then Sun. Okay. A few months here and there. And for in case of Rahu and Ketu, we subtract the longitudes from 30 because they are always retrograde. Now let us look at his achievements in the same order. Okay. Going back to his wiki page. His on-screen appearance was when he was 6 months old, and then he gave a series of super hit movies alongside his father, and that was from 1976 to 1989. If you look at the division, the first Antardasha itself, when he was born, the 7th house was activated, and that was where Hamsa Yoga is there. That is why he rose to fame at such a very early age, followed by activations of all auspicious houses and yogas. As you can see here, 7th house, 4th house, 7th house again, and then again the Hamsa Yoga and Chamara Yoga are giving their results. And again it is Jupiter. So it is Jupiter, 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 Jupiter everywhere. And Jupiter is what kind of a planet here? He is giving a Mahapurusha Yoga. In the second subsegment too, it is 7th house, 4th house and 10th house giving their results. And in the third subsegment too, it is again Saturn, Jupiter and Sun. The only negative thing here, I wouldn't say negative, but which stands out is the Sun, presence of Sun in the 7th house. 12th Lord Sun in the 7th house could mean displacement from where he is born, and also some kind of compromises or hospitalization, something like that, which I am not aware of because I do not know that much of a detailed biography of his life, so I cannot make any comment on that. The second topic, we already touched upon this. He acted alongside his father in most of his films as child actor. does the chart show the same? Now I am going to take you to another interesting point. Let me pull up the Dwadasamsa chart. Now my Guruji says that all these divisional charts do not exist in vacuum. Now Rashi chart, what is Rashi chart? It is one's physical existence. And what is a divisional chart? These divisional charts are various abstract environments that we lead our existence in. That is, there is a marital environment, a relationship environment, or a learning environment, career environment, spiritual environment. So all these different environments are shown by different divisional charts. But at the end, they do boil down to the physical level. They do show their results in the physical level. So when we analyze anything on a chart, it is very important to see both Rashi chart and the concerned divisional chart and see what planets are playing out in what ways. Again, as I already told you, these divisional charts do not exist in vacuum. They correlate. When Parashara Maharshi talked about divisional charts, he did not mention separate charts for each of these. He only said the planet goes to this amsha in Navamsha, it goes to this amsha in Dasamsa. So what my Guruji says is, there is a master chart which has all these divisional charts, and the planets in one chart interact with the planets in the other divisional chart. Now I'm going to demonstrate that particular aspect here. As we saw in his wiki profile, he acted alongside his father in most of his movies, and his father was one of the most famous actors in Kannada industry. His name was Dr. Rajkumar, and he was a very noble person, very spiritual, and he was a practicing yogi too. Now let us see if his father and his mother was into film production. His mother was Srimati Parvatama Rajkumar. Now let us see if these two personalities are shown in the Dwadasamsa chart, which is the chart to see the parents. In the Dwadasamsa chart, the Lagna rising is Cancer. It is a good idea to see how close the Lagna is to the border before doing any analysis. Yes, it is well within the cusp of the sign. 9th house is for father and the 4th house is for mother. Now, 9th house is what? 9th house is Pisces and the Lord is Jupiter. Now Dr. Rajkumar is seen from Scorpio, wherever the 9th Lord is. And the mother is seen from Gemini, because the 4th Lord Venus is in Gemini. As I told you, Dr. Rajkumar was a very noble person, and the location, the placement of Jupiter in Puneeth Rajkumar's Dwadasamsa chart does prove that he was a noble person indeed. Now this Jupiter has his 5th aspect on Pisces, and that is where Hamsa Yoga is present in his Rashi chart. So father's guidance is very much seen in his life through this interconnection between Dwadasamsa and Rashi chart. There is one more point to prove that. If you go to longitudes and basic info and changing this to the Rashi chart based on D1, we see that there is Mercury and Mars conjunction in the 6th house of overcoming obstacles, and Mars is Atmakaraka and Mercury is the Pitrakaraka. I have mentioned this point before too. When this conjunction of Atmakaraka and Pitrakaraka is a Raj Yoga, and it denotes that there is a godfatherly figure for that person who is guiding him throughout his life, and that happens to be his father, because we have seen how they acted alongside each other, and we have also seen this aspect of Jupiter on his Hamsa Yoga house. And there is one more thing I would like to draw your attention to. That is, let me see if it is D10. the Jupiter is casting its 7th aspect on Mercury, who is the Lord of Luck and Fortune in Puneeth Rajkumar's Dasamsa chart. Now let us see if this is replicated in the Dashas. We will go over the Dasha in the Dasamsa chart, and we will also go over the Dasha in the Dwadasamsa chart. Pull up my notes again. In the Dasamsa chart, Vimsottari Dasa from Moon is applicable, and in the Dwadasamsa chart, Chaturaseeti Sama Dasa from Lagna Sphuta is applicable. Let us first go to the D10 chart. Going to Nakshatra Dasha's tab and picking Vimsottari Dasa. This is from Janmatara Moon. This is D10 and this is default Kritika. Let us go back to the timeline. From 1976 to 1989, he rose as child actor. Then there was a break of 13 years and then he came back to acting career from 2002 to 2007. Now this brings us to the fourth topic. He shined both as child actor and lead actor with a gap of 13 years. What is the indication in the birth chart? Now, when he was a child actor, he ran the Venus Mahadasha. Now, Venus in the Dasamsa chart, Venus is the Yoga Karaka for being 5th and the 10th Lord. Obviously, 10th house, 10th Lord is Venus, that is why he was an actor. And that is an exchange with the 6th Lord, 5th and 6th Lord exchange. Now, this is not a very good exchange for the reason that 6th house is the Maraka for 5th. But however, this makes both these planets strong. That is why he had an excellent dialogue delivery in his movies. A strong Mercury and a strong Venus, which is why he was very good at acting. Not only was he an actor and singer, he was also a philanthropist. That is seen by Jupiter because Jupiter associates with the 10th Lord Venus. He ran Venus Mahadasha, a very good dasha, when he was born. He was born in 1975 and soon after his birth, which happened in Ketu Dasha, when he was 6 months old, he started the Venus Mahadasha, which is why he gave a series of successful movies as a child actor. And what was the year when he had a break as a child actor? It was 1989. Now let us see if that is seen, okay? 1989, that was when Jupiter Antardasha was running, and Jupiter is posited in the A8 Mrityupada and A3. Both A8 and A3 denote break in career. A8 is for long break and A3 is for travel and short breaks in career, which is why he had a break in his career, and that break continued. Why is that? It is because the next Antardasha is of Saturn and he aspects this A3 and A8 by both sign aspect and Graha aspect. So it is very strong aspect. Then comes Mercury. Now, Mercury is the Maraka for 5th house and it is very strong, which is why that break continued. And then came Ketu. Ketu, what relevance does he hold? Ketu does not hold any relevance here, but he is eclipsing Sun. He is eclipsing Sun and he is in the 7th house of desire. So it is this eclipse in the 7th house of desire could have been one of the reasons why the break continued. Now let us, this is about the years when he acted as a child actor and when there was a break. Let us see the next dasha. Next dasha is that of Sun. The Sun dasha is the 13 years period which I showed in his profile up to 2002, and see how beautifully it lines up. From 1996 to 2002 he ran the Sun Mahadasha. Sun is the 8th Lord who is eclipsed by Ketu. Now let us see the degree of conjunction. It is always a good idea to see the longitudes and not just go by the planetary placements. Go to all divisional longitudes, and D10 Sun is very weak. He is in deep Gandanta at the very beginning of Cancer, and Ketu is at 13. So this eclipse is not so strong, but Sun, being a very very weak planet who is posited in 12th from his own house, was not a very good dasha when it came to career. Following Sun Mahadasha was the Moon Mahadasha. Moon is the seventh lord in the 4th house of comforts, which is why he rose as an actor again. Within the Moon Dasha, his most successful, his debut as I think as a lead actor was in the movie Appu, and it was a super hit. It happened in Moon. Why Moon? Because Moon is the 7th lord in the 4th house, and Moon also has the Putrapada here, A5. A5 is for tangible manifestation of one's recognition. That is why he rose to prominence in Moon Mahadasha, Moon Antardasha. Following that is the Mars. Mars is a very good planet here too, because he is the 4th lord and the 11th lord of gains. And then came Rahu. Rahu aspects the A5, which is why he still continued to give good movies during that period. That was when he kept giving reasonably successful movies. And the next dasha is Mars Dasha, and Mars Dasha was also a good dasha for Mars being the 4th and the 11th lord. And the next dasha is the Rahu Mahadasha. This dasha is of interest for us right now because he passed away during the Rahu Mahadasha, which brought a permanent end to his career. If I can show you the 5th point or the last point, does the Dasamsa chart have any indication to this? He passed away during Rahu Mahadasha, and that was 2021, Rahu Antardasha. Rahu is the 2nd lord posited in the Lagna, and does Rahu have any connection with any of the Arudha Padas for being the Antardasha lord? Yes, he casts his 5th aspect on the lord of A8 and A3. I mentioned earlier that A8 indicates long break in career, and this unfortunately happened to be the permanent end to his career, and that is what that happened because Rahu has both Rashi Drishti and Graha Drishti on this strong Mercury who is in exchange with Venus. So this brought an end to his career. I forgot to mention one other point while discussing his chart and his father's influence in his career. Let me pull up the corresponding dasha for Dwadasamsa chart. It is Chaturaseeti Sama Dasa from Lagna Sphuta. So go to the dasha tab, right click, go to Chaturaseeti Sama Dasa and change this to Lagna Sphuta. This is D12 and the nakshatra is the default. The time when he was a child actor, the dasha in the Dwadasamsa chart was Sun Dasha. With respect to his father, which is seen from Scorpio, Sun is the 10th lord. So this indicates that the father was actively involved in his karma. And the same father has a 5th aspect on the Hamsa Yoga house that I already mentioned, and he is also aspecting the 7, 8, 9. He is also aspecting the 7th house of desire in his Dasamsa chart. So this is a strong indication that his father was closely involved with him with respect to career. This brings us to the end of the analysis. Before we close, let us quickly look at the Amsha ruler of the 10th lord by going to the basics tab, Amsha rulers. 10th lord Jupiter, no, 10th lord is Venus. Venus is in Yamamsha, 7, 8, 9, 10. Venus is in Yamamsha. Yama denotes disciplined, hardworking. Discipline is indicated by Yama. So he was very, this indicates that Puneeth Rajkumar was indeed a very disciplined person when it came to acting. So yeah, this concludes the analysis. Hope I have touched upon all these points that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Let me know what you think about this analysis in the comments box. I was requested to do more of public figure charts so that people can look up the birth data and do the analysis based on the same lines and come up with their own conclusions. So this is one of the reasons why I did a public figure chart today. If you have any questions or any comments to make about this analysis, please drop them in the comments box below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.